it's going to be great. No, you really should. You really should. Take your computers out. This is going to be fun. I'm going to give you 22 seconds to take your computers out. Is everybody okay with the address of the presentation? Yeah? Gonna wait a little bit more. Lowercase and capital letters, you should take notice. They are different. Okay? Do you see the presentation? Do you see the blue slide? The School of Data thing? Yes? Okay. All right, let's go. So what's in for today? We're going to talk about scraping. And scraping is arguably the best skill a data journalist could have. Some people argue that could be visualization skills or researching skills, but everybody agrees that scraping is one of the most important, if not the most important. And scraping gives back the power to journalists to collect data from sources that are usually unreachable to journalists in a more general sense. So I'm going to give a quick intro on what we're calling scraping. So we're just going to define a common ground to work around scraping. Then I'm going to show you how to use, really quickly, the Web Inspector, because I know there was a session about the Web Inspector yesterday. And then I'm going to show you 3 tools to do scraping. The first one is Google Sheets. We're going to dive into the import HTML. Then I'm going to tell you about IFTTT to scrape images from Instagram. And then on the last part of the session, I'm going to teach you how to use the WebScraper, which is a Chrome extension that makes it really easy to scrape information out of web pages that have pagination or links and makes navigation automatically. So let's get to it. So what do we want? So scraping, when we talk about scraping, what we really want is clean and structured data, right? We want a table that has clean columns and clean rows, right? So in this example, we have a column that has a name, we have another column that has an address, we have a city and the age. Every single cell has only one type of data, so this is what we want to do the analysis, right? But what do we get? Usually we get PDF files, or we get websites, right? The information is there, but it's not in a way that the computer can understand for analysis, right? This is built for humans. So scraping is a structure. Data that was meant to be read by humans becomes machine readable. Why? So that we can process, analyze, and visualize, for example. So whenever we're talking about scraping, we are talking about structure. So take a look at this screen here. This is the opinions page section of the New York Times. And I invite you to change the way you look at websites from now on, because you're going to be scraping information from the web, and you need to understand a little bit better how to look at those websites and find the patterns. Also, if I'm speaking too fast, raise your hand so I can slow down a little bit. And if you have questions, raise your hand at any time. Let's keep the conversation open. Are we okay so far? Yeah? Please. Okay, you need permission. Of course you need permission. All right, I'm going to give you all permission now. Okay, can you reload the presentation? Can you see it now? Yeah. If you need the address, it's here. This is the address. Okay, can you see the presentation now? Yeah? All right. I'm going to go back to slide number 7, okay? All right. So this is the opinions page of the New York Times, and I'm inviting you to take a look at web pages from now on, and I want you to change the way you see the websites, right? I want you to think about the columns of your data set. So we're scraping information, and you think about the columns, think about the dimensions, think about the information you're trying to reach from here. So if you're doing an analysis of what the New York Times is publishing on the opinions page, you might notice that there are little boxes in here, right? And there are titles, there are the authors of the stories, there is a description, right? And we have a position. So if we change the way we see it, and you look at this slide right now, so we have in red the positions of the stories. This could be one of the columns, right? Position. We can have in blue another column called title. So we have the titles of the stories. We can have another column called authors, or who, and we have who wrote it. And we have another one called description. And from this slide to this one, this is the data set that we're scraping. So this is the web page, and this is the data set. So when we are scraping, this is the exercise that we're doing in our heads. This is the jump that we need to make from data that is not structure, that is made for humans, to data that is machine readable. Okay? Position, title, who, and description. Okay. So to do that, so how can we understand the web pages in a way that it's easy for us to identify those boxes, identify where the information is? We can use something called the Web Inspector, which really is an X-ray goggles for web pages. The Web Inspector is a diagnostics tool. It's very popular with developers and web designers, and it's built into every modern web browser. And you just right-click anywhere, and you inspect. We're going to use the Web Inspector in a second, but I'm going to give you an ultra crash course on HTML. Are you ready? You're going to learn HTML now. I mean, it's going to happen. It's going to happen right now. Okay. So HTML, you've heard about it. Everybody talks about it. What it is. It was a language. It's not a programming language, but it's a language that was created by a guy called Tim Berners-Lee. He's British. He was working at this Research European Center, and then in 1989, he published the language. And it really is a formatting language. Just like we use Word to format documents, HTML is a language to format documents and publish documents. And it's based on tags, right? You have tags with a beginning and an end, and you have content inside those tags. What you see on a web page is not what the computer gets. So you write a recipe for the computer, and the computer understands that recipe and then displays the information on the screen. HTML is easy to understand because it has a head and it has a body. Scraping usually happens in the body of a web page, and the head section has information about the page. So this screen here shows what basically a web page looks like in a very simple way. But roughly, you have here in blue the head. So you have the tag that starts the head, the tag that ends the head, and then you have information on the head, which is the title. Title begins, title ends. You have the body starting and the body ending. And then you have other tags that helps us format. You don't have to memorize this. You don't have to know what it is for. Just understand the structure. H1 is to make things big. P is a paragraph. And EMG SRC is to load images. So this code here will show and display on a browser this. So let's go back. The title here, IFJ16 web scraping. Here at the top, the title, which is usually on the tab, right? Then we have age 1, Ciao Perugia, big. Ciao Perugia, big. And then we have the paragraph. This is a web scraping class. And then we have a warning image being loaded. That's it, guys. You just learned HTML. That's it. HTML is, we need to understand, because we're going to go deep into HTML when we're scraping in web pages, and we need to find the text that we want or the images that we want. So let's go really quickly onto web browsers. So open up your web browser, your Chrome, and let's take a look at the web inspector really quickly, okay? I'm going to press Ask here. I'm going to open up the Journalism Festival webpage. Just go to the journalismfestival.com, and you can click anywhere, and you can right-click anywhere. You will see that the last option, or one of the last options, is Inspect, or Inspect Element. You right-click on it, and then you open this console right here. This is the web inspector. A lot of people are familiar with it, some are not. But this is basically one way to navigate the code that is made really easily. And one way to really get where the information on the page is, on the code, is to click on the left corner. There is a mouse cursor here. You just click here. Let me show you here. So this is what I'm talking about. So just click here, and when you move the mouse around the web page, it highlights the elements of the page. And when you click on an element, so I'm going to click in Home, it shows me back on the code where Home is in the code. This is important because if I want to scrape this particular part of information, I need to know where it is in the code, and it's right here. All right? Are we okay? Is everybody okay? Do you have any questions? Okay. So this is the web inspector. There are a ton of things that you can do with a web inspector, but I'm not going to show everything. You just need to know that it's easy to navigate using the web inspector, easy to navigate the code. All right, you can close this page now, and we're going to go back to the presentation. And I'm going to show you the first scraping technique of the day, which is called import HTML. Import HTML is a very quick and easy to use formula for Google Sheets that you can import tables and lists automatically to your spreadsheet, just typing up 3 parameters. Import HTML, you just type this in a cell, and it has 3 parameters. The first one is the link in red, so the URL where the table is. The second one is the type, so import HTML accepts 2 types of scraping. It scrapes tables and it scrapes lists. So you need to type table or list here in type. And the last parameter is index. This index is the position, of the table in your HTML code. So if you're taking a look at the page and the page has more than 1 table, is it the first table? If it's the first table, you put number 1. If it's the third table, then you put number 3, and so forth. All right? So again, the link, where the table is, the URL, the type, is it a table or is it a list? And then the index, which is the position of the table or the list in a page. Here's a warning. Depending on your Google Sheets language settings, the delimiter in the function could be either a comma or semicolon, okay? Here. For Portuguese, Brazilian, it's semicolon. For English, it's comma. I don't know what is for Italian or other languages, but pay attention to that. So let's, yes, go ahead. That's a very good question. He asked what if the data is in multiple pages? Can import HTML help you in that? The answer is no. But WebScraper, which is the last tool that we're going to show, does exactly that. Okay? So in your presentation, there are 3 links. Let's take a look at these links and see how we can import the table in these links back to Google Sheets, all right? So let's click on the first link, which is a list of the highest grossing movies from the Wikipedia. So this is the page, and we have a table right here of the movies that made more money in history. Avatar is still the highest grossing movie, followed by Titanic, which means that James Cameron knows how to make money with movies, right? Not necessarily good movies, but he knows. Open up Google Sheets, sheets.google.com. If you don't have a Google account, this could be a good time to create one, even if it's a fake one. So open up Google Sheets and click on the red button on the right corner to create a new empty spreadsheet. This is the spreadsheet. It's just like Excel. And what you have to do to import that table from Wikipedia. So let's go back to the presentation and remember what the formula looks like. So this is the formula. We type equals import HTML. The first parameter is a link. Then we look at the type, and then we look at the position. Okay? Let's do that. So I'm going to zoom in here a little bit so that you can see. Okay. So I'm typing equals. Wait, my voice. Yeah. So equals. Import HTML. Can you see it? Is it visible? Yeah? Can everybody see it? You guys on the back, can you see it? Yes? Outside, can you guys see it? Yes? Okay, cool. So we type import HTML, we open parentheses, and then we open parentheses, and then we open quotes. Guys, there's something happening here. Oh, it's this. Okay. I'm going to copy the URL from the Wikipedia page. This is the URL where the table is. I'm going to go back to the sheet. I'm going to paste the address here. I'm going to close the quote, the delimiter. I'm going to type table between quotes. Yes. Yes, I'm going to. Can you see it? Yep. So you type the URL, and then the delimiter, and then the index. I know it's the first table that appears. It looks like it's the first table, right? So I'm going to put number 1. And now I'm going to press enter. And there it is. This is the table. It automatically imports the table to your spreadsheet, so you don't have to do any copy and pasting. You just import the table. This is for the list of movies here in the Wikipedia page. But let's try another page, right? Let's see if it works on a page that has multiple tables. So I'm going to click on the second link, which is the football tables by The Guardian. The Guardian has a page that shows the most important data of all the football leagues happening in Europe right now. I'm going to go back here in the cell A1, and I'm going to delete, and the table is gone. I'm going to copy the URL here of the Guardian. I'm going to go back to the spreadsheet, equals, import HTML, open parenthesis, quotes, paste the link, table, and then let's try to get the third one, right? The German, what is the Italian? So Series A is the Italian championship, right? So let's get the, yeah, I see he's nodding. Yeah, he wants the data from the Italian championship. Let's get that. So it's the 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're going to type in number 4 here instead of number 1. And this is what it looks like. Okay? So import HTML, the link between quotes, table between quotes, and the number 4. And there it is, the data from the 4th table. And we can, so this is Juventus, Napoli, Roma, and Fiorentina. The last example is the airports of Europe. So I'm going to click on the third link. And these are airports here in Europe. And you can see it's a big table, right? Hundreds of lines. And if we were to copy paste this, we would have to do this. And sometimes it breaks, and this is so awkward, right? No journalist deserves to do that. So we're going to just copy the address here. I'm going to delete this, equals, import HTML. I'm pasting the address, table again, and just one table, so number 1. Enter. And then hundreds of lines are just here, automatically. I don't have to do anything else. And the data is here. Okay? This is import HTML, guys. It's very simple. It's your first step into the scraping world. You just scraped the website. Congratulations to yourself. Yes, good. All right, so you can close Google Sheets. We're going to move on to another service now. Okay, cool. Now let's talk about IFTTT. Who knows IFTTT? Raise your hand. How cool is IFTTT 1 to 10? 20,000, right? Okay. IFTTT is the coolest service on the web. I mean it. I really mean it. And you see, you agree with me. IFTTT works following the following logic. If this happens, then do that. A trigger leads to an action. Triggers are pictures on Instagram, a post on Twitter, a new edit on a Wikipedia post, you name it. Actions are send an email, send an SMS, append a row to a spreadsheet, call your phone. I mean, there are many services in IFTTT. So you can look for channels. There are Twitter channels, NASA channels, Wikipedia channels, the weather channel. There are many, 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 many channels, and we'll see it. I'll show you. You can do, for example, you can do a lot of just like fun stuff like this. So the NASA channel releases the astronomy picture of the day. Every day there's a new picture. And you can link that to your phone, and every day it changes the background of your phone to the astronomy picture of the day. Right? Cute. It can send you an SMS every time the temperature of the following day is below 0, for example, so that you know that's going to be really cold. So tomorrow is going to be below 0 every time that happens. Or you're stalking a very shady politician and you want to know if people are making edits to its Wikipedia page. So every time someone makes an edit to the Wikipedia page of this politician, you get an email, right? So you can do that with IFTTT. In this case, I'm going to show you guys how you can track pictures that are taken into a certain location in Instagram and save them to your Google Sheets. So every time a person takes a picture in Perugia, anytime in Perugia, in Instagram, and it's public, we're going to save that information on a spreadsheet. You can do that for riots, you can do that for concerts, you can do that for anything that is happening in your city or any country or anywhere in the world, to do analysis of images, to do analysis of information about the pictures, or to create galleries. You can take, for example, how is the situation in the border and migrants are coming, are people taking pictures on Instagram in real time and get those pictures? So IFTTT does that for you. You don't need to know anything about programming, which is great. And also not great because you should learn programming. But let's take a look. So go to ifttt.com. You will have to create an account. So follow me if you don't have an account. I will show you how to create this. I am logged in already, so that's why I see this this screen. So if you don't have an account, you can create an account later. Because we have short time, follow with me on the screen, and then you can create an account later, okay? But basically, IFTTT works with recipes. So you create recipes, and they have a bunch of recommended recipes for you as well. You can even set up, for example, buttons on your cell phone when you're talking to someone that it's inconvenient or you want to get out of a situation. You press the button, and then IFTTT calls you, and you said, oh, excuse me, I have to go because, you know, there's this call. But anyway, recipes. So you're going to click on My Recipes, and you're going to create a recipe, this blue button here. And then it shows you, so if this, what is the this? The this, I'm going to connect the Instagram channel, and I'm going to choose a trigger. There are a lot of triggers. If you want to stalk a person, and you want to just get notified if a person posts a picture on Instagram, you can. I mean, your judgment. I'm not going to judge you. But you can get pictures that anyone posts on an area, or you can get pictures based on a search or a hashtag, for example, if you're following a hashtag. So in this case here, I'm going to click on this trigger, new photo by anyone in an area. This one right here. I'm going to click on it, and IFTTT asks me to select an area. So I can select anywhere in the world. I'm going to select Perugia right here. So anyone who takes a picture on Instagram that is public or accessible by my account, because you have to put your credentials here, and it's geotagged in Perugia, it's going to show up on my spreadsheet. So I create this trigger. Oops. The area is too large. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Okay, this should be good. Still too large. All right. So if anyone takes a picture in that region in Perugia, what's going to happen? Then you click on that. You have to select an action. I'm going to select Google Drive, and the actions that I'm allowed to choose include add row to spreadsheet. And this is really powerful because every time someone posts a picture, then it's going to add a row to a spreadsheet. So I'm going to click here. I'm going to select a name for this spreadsheet. And then you have the row, so the information that you're going to include on the row. when the picture was created, the username that posted the picture, the caption of the picture, the URL to see the picture on the web browser, and the source URL for the image, right? You can select other options from here. And this is the path on your Drive folder where you're going to save your spreadsheet. You create an action, and then you save your recipe. You can give any name for this. And I've created this recipe last night, so I can show you how the spreadsheet looks like after you create it. It's right here. So IFTTT has been collecting pictures in Perugia since last night. You all have been posting pictures on Instagram. I know what you have been posting, and it's all here. You can see tags, you can see the date, the usernames, it's all here, okay? Cool. You can also do that with Twitter, not only with Instagram, but also on Twitter, and based on searches as well, if you're monitoring hashtags and things like that. All right? Any questions so far? Are we on the same page? Yes? Isn't it cool, guys? Come on, this is great. This is outstanding. Yes. I can feel how excited you are. You're so focused, right? Okay, cool. Now, let's get to the meat of this session. So IFTTT, right? You can do with other social media channels as well. It's pretty interesting. It's not technically scraping. It's more like a service that uses an API, but it serves the purpose. Let's talk about WebScraper. WebScraper is powerful scraping at the tips of your fingers. It works within the web inspector that I showed at the beginning, and you should install on your Chrome or your Chromium, depending on the version that you're using. So just click on the download from the Chrome Web Store and install the extension on your browser right now. You should use Chrome. It's only compatible with Chrome or Chromium, the open source version of Chrome. Also, don't forget to install an ad blocker as well. There is a link for an ad block for Chrome because pages will load faster if you use this extension. Usually you're scraping websites and ads take ages to load, and that really gets into the way of doing the scraping. So I'm give you a few seconds to install the web inspector and the ad block for Chrome. Just click on the links and install it. And when you're ready, we're going to start the scraping magic. It's magic. It really is. I'm serious. Okay. It's not. Okay? Did you get the web scraper? Yes? Did you get the web scraper? You guys back there, did you get the web scraper? It's called WebScraper. Yeah, the black thing on the top, WebScraper. WebScraper Chrome should give you the, yep. Also ad block. Do you have ad block? Don't forget ad block. Okay? All right, let's do this. So remember, in the beginning of the session, I asked, what do we want? And this is what we want. Clean and structured data, right? This is what we want. But we get this. Information that was structured and displayed for humans. We want this, but we get this. And now, we're going to use WebScraper to extract information from those pages and really kick some ass, okay? let's try the first website here in the presentation. We're gonna try 3 websites today. Let's take a look at the time. Okay, we should be good. 3 websites. The first one is the Billboard's 200, which is a list of the songs that are most successful in the United States and some radios in Europe. Then we're gonna go to, this is just like scraping contents from boxes that repeat. Then we're gonna scrape information from a website for German-speaking countries where there are mosques. So there are mosques in this website in German-speaking countries, and there are links, and we want to do the navigation of the links automatically. So WebScraper will click on the links automatically, navigate to the pages, and extract the information for us. And the last one is a real estate web page in Italy for apartments for rent in Rome. It could be any city, but I just selected Rome. And there is pagination, so page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and WebScraper will extract the information automatically from those pages. You can just set up WebScraper and just enjoy the weather, which is great, and then when you come back, the information is there for you. So let's try Billboard's 200 first. Just click on the link, Billboard's 200, and take a good look at this list. If we didn't know how to scrape, how would you store the information on this website? It's not a rhetorical question. I really want your answer. How would you do it? What would be your approach? Copy paste. Copy the source. What else? I'm expecting only bad answers because you're going to see the approach here, and this is going to be really good. It's fine. So here we have a list of 200 songs, and remember when I showed the opinion pages of the New York Times, do you remember? Yes? Think about the boxes. Think about the columns. Look at this. Let's take a look at this box over here, the first one. We have a lot of information here, right? Someone spoke? No? Okay, yes? Yes. Good. Good, good, good. That's it, guys. That's it. You made it. So we have, what are our columns? Name of the song, the ranking, the name of the artist, right? The position right now, the album, the image of the album, the position last week. So those are all columns in our clean and beautiful data, right? Another thing that I would like you to notice is that this information here at the top, it repeats itself over and over 200 times, right? So in theory, if we teach the computer how to extract information from one box, it knows how to extract information from all of the other boxes, right? We just say, hey, this is how you extract information from one box. Now I want you to repeat this procedure 200 times. And then he will do it, or she will do it, depending on how you treat your computer. Okay, so let's use WebScraper to do that. Right-click anywhere on the web page, select Inspect, or Inspect Element, depending on the version of your Chrome. And notice that I'm going to change the resolution here because it's kind of a... let me see. Is it better? Can you see WebScraper here? Yeah? Okay. So click on the WebScraper pane. Yours is going to be empty because you haven't created any scrapers yet. This is the menu, and let's get used to the terminology here. WebScraper calls sitemap when we are creating scrapers. So it calls a sitemap, but I mean, in practice is our scraper, okay? So when we are creating a new sitemap, it means that we are creating a scraper, a robot that will scrape the information for us, all right? So the option that is relevant to us right now, it's here on the right corner here, create new sitemap. Go ahead and click on that, and you're gonna select the first option, which is create sitemap. Click once. We're gonna give a name for our sitemap or for our scraper. I'm gonna call it B200, just that. Lowercase, no spaces, no special characters, just B200. WebScraper also needs a start URL. So what is the first URL that WebScraper will access to extract the information? In our case, it's just one page, right? So it's the start URL is the only URL that we're getting. So just copy the URL here at the top, billboard.com/charts/billboard-200, and paste it here in the start URL box. Are we good? Yeah? Okay, and then you click on Create Sitemap, and then you see this screen like this. Now, there is a lot of information here. This is the indication of where we are in the creation of our robot. It will become more clear as we go. Don't mind this root word for now. This blue button called Add New Selector is the action that we create to select the elements on the web page. So let's go ahead. So our strategy is, remember, we're going to teach WebScraper to select the 200 boxes, and we're going to show how to do the scraping in one of them. Are we good? So let's teach WebScraper where the 200 boxes are. So we're going to add a new selector. Just click on the blue button. And then we're going to give a name to this selector. I'm going to call it box. How do you say box in Italian? Scatola. You can call it scatola as well. Box. And the type of the box here is not text. This box is an element on the page, right? So you just select element here on type. Are we okay? Any questions so far? No? So we select element. And then we're going to mark here, we're going to check this box called multiple. Why? Because we're going to select multiple boxes. Not only one box, but a lot of boxes in the page. So we select multiple. It's going to happen, guys. Are you ready? We're going to select 200 boxes. One by one. No, not one by one. Okay, select here. Select. And notice that there is a blue button here now in a text box. If this box is showing, it means that you're ready to select elements on the page. Now, hover your mouse to the web page and check out what happens. Can you see it? So it is highlighting in green elements that are selectable. And what do we want to select? The whole box, right? So let's click here. It becomes red. This here, we can in a different way. I will explain why, because it only shows when you have your mouse over it. So you would have to have a different technique. So we're going to select this red box here. Okay, it's selected. Notice that we have an HTML code here. Do you see it? Yeah? But we want the box below as well, right? We don't want just the first box. We want the second one. So click on the second one and click on the third one. See what happens. because we are teaching WebScraper where the boxes are, it guesses the position of all the other boxes. So it's so cool, right? So obedient. And if you go until the 200, you see that 200 boxes are selected. And we have the code here, and because we are ready to proceed, we click on Done Selecting. And notice that the code that was here went to this position here, right? We can do an element preview just to make sure that we selected the right code. Okay, so it's here. And then we click on Save Selector. All right? Save Selector. Now we have a box. So we have the 200 boxes selected. WebScraper knows where the boxes are. Now we need to teach him how to scrape the information from one box, because it's going to repeat that procedure for all of the boxes. So what we're going to do is to enter in a box, get into the box. So just click on the box. Okay, I clicked on the box. And notice here that we were en route, but now we are in the box, right? So the level that we are now, we are showing WebScraper to scrape information from the boxes. We're going to go back to the first box and teach and show WebScraper what is the information that we want to scrape. Add a new selector, and now we're really talking about the columns, right? The columns that you guys suggested in the beginning. I'm adding a new selector. The first one, I'm going to put the artist. Is that okay? Artist. It's text, because it's here. It's text. So I'm going to leave text selected. The artist, how many times the artist appears in the box? How many times? Once, right? So I'm not going to check the multiple here, because the artist appears only once, because I'm inside the box. So I'm going to select, see the yellow box? I'm only acting on the yellow box. I'm going to select the name of the artist, which is this blue thing here. I'm going to click Done Selecting, and I'm going to do now a data preview. Okay, so he has the name of the artists, of the 200 artists in this page. Okay, so we're good. Now I'm going to save the selector, and I have the column artist. Are we doing okay? Yes, guys? No? Yes? Any questions? Yep. We are selecting only the text, because in this case I want just the name, right? I don't want to follow the link to go to the artist page. I just want the name of the artist, right? I can do the select again. So I click on select, and then I hover the mouse over the name of the artist. What if nothing gets colored? That's a good question. Then it means that WebScraper has not initialized the mode of selecting. Do you see a blue button here? Yes? Do you see the yellow box here? No. So maybe, and I can help you in the end, but maybe the box that we selected before, they were not correctly saved, but I can help you with that. So you select the artist here, and then you're done, and then you save. Now let's do the same thing for the other columns as well. We have artist, name of the song, position, and position last week. Okay, I'm going to do this really quickly because it's the same procedure for all this information. But I'm just adding 3 more selectors, 3 text selectors, the name of the song, the position last week, and the current position. So I'm going to add a new selector called song. It's a text selector, mine of mine, done. Now the last week. I'm going to select it here. Done. Now, current position. The text, 1, done. And now I have 4 columns. If I go back to root and I do a data preview here, I have my table. The 200 artists on this page. So in essence, we already finalized the scraping, but this is on the interface. I want a CSV file that I can manipulate later. And to do that, you just go to sitemap here in the middle. You go to scrape because it needs to scrape the information. You click on start scraping, and then a window opens. It scrapes the information for you. It closes the window. It shows what it has scraped here. So it scraped everything. And now we can go to sitemap again, export as CSV, and download the CSV file. And I can save it. And if I look in my computer, there it is. I just scraped the 200 lines, 200 artists from the billboard. I see. It's pretty good, right? Okay. Now, what if we have links and we have to go into a page, get that information, come back, go to another link, get that information, come back, and do this link navigation that is a nightmare, right? This is the case for the next example, which is the mosques in German-speaking countries. So I'm going to click here. And this is a website with information from mosques all over these countries. And here, on the left hand of the site, you can see that the mosques are divided by the organizations that run those mosques. And this is a list of links, right? So if I click on the first one, I click here, ATB, and then it shows me a map, and then it shows a list of mosques, and then inside each mosque, I have all the information that I need. So how can I tell WebScraper to go to the website, click on the links, click on the name of the mosques, get the information from the other mosques, and do that, automatically for all of the organizations, and scraping information from all of the mosques? I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, let's get back. Let's get back to the home page. I'm going to close the billboard here, and I'm going to right-click anywhere in the page, and I'm going to select the inspect option again. I'm going to open up WebScraper, and I'm going to create a new sitemap. I'm going to name it German Mosques. And the starting URL is the URL of the website, the URL where these links are, right? I'm going to click Create Sitemap. And just like with the Billboard 200, that the first thing that we did was to select the 200 boxes. The first thing that we're doing here is to select the links, the list of the links, because we need to navigate on each of those links, right? So the first thing that we're doing here is select the list of the links. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to say that these are the organizations, it's not text, it's link. So it's a link, right? I want WebScraper to follow the link. I want it to click on the link. So I select the link type. And it's multiple links, right? It's not just one link, it's multiple links. I check the multiple box. I click on select. I click on the first link. I click on the second link, and it already recognizes the links that it needs to access. And there is a code here, right? So I'm going to do done selecting. I'm going to do an element preview. Okay, the links are here. And I'm going to save the selector. Are we good so far? Yeah? Anna? Yeah? Okay. Now, what happens when I click on this link? I'm going to click on the link, okay? Because WebScraper will do exactly that. It will click on the link. So the first link, I'm going to click on it. And I need it to navigate into another list, right? There is another list of links. So I'm going to click here on organizations. Look at the root. So root here. I'm going to click on organizations. And now I am inside the organizations. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to select the list of links. So add new selector. I'm going to call it the mosques. It's a link. I'm going to check multiple. And I'm going to select. So I have all the links here. Okay? Done selecting. Save selector. And when I click on the first mosque here, only then I have the information about the mosques, right? So now I can work on the columns. The name of the mosque, the address, the number, the phone, the website, the email, and things like that. So let's click on the mosques here and see that I have now mosques, organizations, and root. So WebScraper will go to the website, it will click on the link of the organization, then it will click on the link of the mosque, and then it will come to this web page here. And this is where we get the information from. So we're going to add selectors that correspond to our columns. Let's do it. The first one is the name. So name, it's a text. So I'm going to select just the name here. Done selecting. And then I save. The other one is the address. It's also text, and it's this one. I'm going to save. The other one is the city. If I want to geomap this information. Actually, this is not the address. Who knows German? This is not the address, is it? It's the organization name. Okay, so let's... Okay, so... What is this? Stadtteil? District. Is it district? Okay. So city and then district. Okay, cool. District. And then we have the address. Yes? Is it not possible to select multiple elements for the address so that you have the link based on street? Yeah, but then don't you want to have the city on a separate column if you want to plot? Right? Okay, yes? How about phone numbers? Because there are multiple phone numbers. Yeah, there are multiple phone numbers. There is a way to select multiple items. I'm going to show you how to do it. So we save the selection for the district. There's also the address, which is this one. Is this the postal code? PLZ? Okay, so postal code, we select it. And then there is phone, right? This is the last information that I'm adding, just phone. Because you got the idea. So phone, then I'm going to select multiple, because phone appears multiple times. I'm selecting this one, but look that it shows here also these other two, but I don't want these other two, right? I just want these two on the top. On this website, you have to do a regular expression to get just the name of the phones, so I'm not going to show you exactly how to do it, but you can ask me in the end and I'll show you how to do it. But it is possible to get just the names, just the phones. So I'm going to select again, this one, this one. That's the first one. Okay, save selector. So we have a lot of columns here. And this is how you scrape information from this website. You can add the website, you can add the email if you want, and other information that is here as well, as long as you follow the same procedure. But this is enough. Now, the only thing that we have to do is to tell WebScraper to start scraping. And I'm going to let WebScraper doing its thing for a bit, and we'll see it, how far it goes, right? So I'm going to go to sitemap, scrape, and start scraping. It opens a window, and it goes to the web page, it goes to the first link, and then it goes to the first mosque, hopefully. Still waiting on the connection. It's in the first mosque. Now it's in the second, and it's going to do that 9 times because the first one has 9 mosques, right? And then it's going to do it, and then it's going to change to the next one on the list, get in, and then scrape the information over and over automatically for you. So it's doing the navigation automatically, right? Let's wait a little bit more. Yeah. And you can keep working on your computer. You don't have to stop doing whatever you're doing. You can just like minimize the window and do what you want. Just don't close it. If you close it, it stops scraping at the point where you closed. But it keeps scraping, see? It doesn't stop. It does scraping on the background. Okay, so if I close the window, it stopped, but I can still browse the information that is scraped. So far it scraped this information from these mosques. So you can see that we have the organization, which is the first link, then mosques, which is the second link, and then all of the columns that we created. Okay? So this is automatic link navigation for WebScraper. Now, what if we have page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, and things like that? How do we paginate that? Are we good? Any questions? Are we okay? Yeah? Okay. So I'm going to go back to the presentation and click on the last link, which is apartments for rent in Rome. Let's take a look at this website. It's called casa.it, and it shows apartments to rent in Rome. Look that we have page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. We have 6,355 pages. Who's will who's willing to copy paste that information by hand? I'm not. Yeah, I knew it. So you go to page 4, and then it gives you page 5. You go to page 5, it gives you page 6. This is an annoying game, right? But hopefully and fortunately, there is an indication on the URL that helps us beat the game. Take a look at the last part of the URL here. Lista 5, right? Lista 5. What happens if we type 10? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Oh, it went to the 10th page. What if we type 100? What happens? It went to the page 100. Okay, cool. So we found out that if we change the number on the URL, we are able to get the pages, right? And we know that they are showing roughly how many per page? 20 per page, right? So we know that there are about 300 pages. Yeah? Yeah? What? How many pages? 300, about 315 pages, right? You can do the calculation to know exactly. Unfortunately, it doesn't give the option to go to the last page. But for the purposes of this exercise, let's get the first 4 pages, okay? Otherwise, it's going to take us forever to scrape like 300 pages. What I want you to do is to go back to the first page. So just type 1 here at the top. Page 1 at the top. Cool. So we are back at page 1. Open up the web scraper. Right-click anywhere, inspect, and then we're back to the web scraper. Let's create a sitemap called Casa It. And our starting URL is going to be this one, but there is a catch. So before we save, take a look at the URL here. We're going to erase the number 1, and we're going to pass on a parameter. Erase number 1, you open brackets, and we put 1-4, and we close the brackets, which means web scraper will go from page 1 to page 4. We can do page 1 until page 315, for example, to get everything. As long as you pass on the parameter here, it will do the pagination automatically. Okay? All right. And you can even jump pages if you want. If you want to get only like every 2 pages, you put like this. Or if you want to jump every 10 pages, so on and so forth. Google, for example, it shows pages based on results. It's like page 10, page 20, page 30, so you have to jump by 10. Okay, cool. So we create the sitemap, and we're back to the same logic of the boxes, right? So these are boxes that we have here, and we have to teach web scraper where the boxes are, and then we get into the box, and then we scrape the information from that box, from the boxes. I'm going to go here in the first page, and I'm going to create a selector called box. It's an element. I'm going to do select and select multiple. And I'm going to put here the mouse. So it highlights the whole box, right? Now I'm going to do the same for the second one. And it automatically selected all of the other ones? No. So I have to be careful. I have to check. So it selected some, but not all of them. So I'm going to select this one as well. Here. Okay. Now it looks like that it identified all of the boxes. Done selecting, save selector, you go into the box, and now we're talking about the columns. So the columns will be here. It can be anything that we want. I'm going to get location, it's this first thing here. I'm going to save it. I'm also going to get the area, which is here. I'm also getting the number of rooms, which is here. And I'm also getting the rent price, so the rent, which is here. So now we have 4 columns for this table. We can go back to root, and we do a data preview. We have all the information here. Okay, cool. And now the only thing that we have to do that is left is scrape. And notice that I haven't explained this, but let me tell you now. On the scrape option, there are 2 text boxes. One is the request interval, and the other one is the page load delay. The request interval, the minimum is 2 seconds or 2000 milliseconds. This is good practice because since we are scraping information from a website, if we do many requests under 1 second, we are flooding the web server with requests. And this is not good for the web server because we can, get their bandwidth, we are using processing power. It's just not good. And they could ban you from accessing the website. So waiting 2 seconds is good practice so that you don't flood the server with requests. The page load delay is the amount of time that WebScraper will wait until the page loads, so it completes loading, it waits half a second, and then it gets the information. You can use that number in various ways if you're not getting the information that you want. And then we click on Start Scraping. And so it's in page 4. It gets the information, and then it goes to page 3. So it takes 2 seconds, and then it loads the page, and then wait half a second, gets the information, page 2, and finally it'll go to page 1, and then it will close the scraping. So we got the information from all of the 4 pages, but this could go forever for 300 pages automatically. And then we can click on Export Data S Csv. We can download it, and we can check. So now, this information here that we scraped, it's not clean, right? We still need to do some work here. So for example, the rent column has the euro sign. It has the almese word. We have to take those things out to make only numbers appear. The same thing goes to the location. The location is not really the location because it has the apartamento in blah, blah, blah. We have to remove those terms as well. So scraping is very useful, but it's not the end of the game. You still need to do some work after you do the scraping. If you look back here in the presentation, we don't put this like by chance, this image here. This is the data pipeline. So everything that we do with data, it requires like steps. So we find the data, we get, we verify, we clean, we analyze, and we present. Today, we just talked about this specific step here, get. But after we get the data, we still have to validate it, to verify it, and then we have to clean, and then we analyze it. Just to keep in perspective what we're doing here with scraping. But other than that, this is how you scrape information from websites using the web scraper. I just wanted to open this slide here again to give a sense of what we saw today. We defined what scraping was in this context. We gave you a quick tour of the web inspector. You got a crash course on HTML. We talked about scraping tables with Google Sheets and import HTML. We also talked about the coolest website on the internet, IFTTT, and how to scrape information out of Instagram and using locations. And we just saw how to scrape information from multi-layered websites using the WebScraper extension. We still got some minutes for questions if you have, but if you don't, thank you very much for your patience and thank you for coming. But let's take some questions first. That was a very good question. He asked, what if you open a PDF file on the web browser? Can you scrape it? The answer is yes, you can. You can scrape information out of PDF files, but PDF files are, how do you say it politically correctly? PDF files are a nightmare. So the tools that I showed you today, they are not able to scrape information out of PDF files because they are made for web pages. But there are certainly tools available out there, like Tabula, PDF to text. There are online tools like PDF tables or Abby Fine Reader that you can scrape information out of PDF files that are text only, and even PDF files that are pictures. So you can, but just not with these tools here, okay? Thank you for your answer, for your question. Anyone else? Yeah. Oh.
If I arrive late, like if I go and I type the web scraper, would I get some kind of tutorial with it?
Yes. Don't worry about it. There are two very good news for you. The video of this session will be available on the festival website, so you can watch the whole presentation again. Don't worry about this. And also, you can, when you go to the WebScraper website, if you type in Google, there are some video tutorials explaining how to use it. So you can definitely, don't worry. Yes. There's a question back there.
My question was, does web scraping of the WebScraper extension also work for web pages that has the load more JavaScript button to load more items?
Great question. WebScraper is really powerful, and I haven't showed you guys half of what it can do. But if we go here into selectors, and you see the type, can you see here in the type, you have other elements on web pages. For example, the element scroll down or the element click. The element click is when you click to load more. So you can do that with WebScraper as well. If you have websites that you have to click more to load more results, just select the element click and then you will click on those results to load more. You can check out the video on the web page, webscraper.io. They teach you how to do that, okay? Yes?
In a lot of cases, would you prefer WebScraper or would you program a scraper in, let's say, Python or?
Yeah, that's an interesting question. That's an interesting dilemma, but there is no best way to scrape a web page, really. You should approach the problem from different angles. Some cases, programming can be overkill, right? Can be something like, it can be an exaggeration. Maybe, for example, for the page with the mosques, I wouldn't use programming to scrape that because it's so simple to scrape with WebScraper, right? But in other cases where WebScraper is not able to detect the information, it might be worth a try to use programming. Another case where programming is useful, which we didn't talk about, is What if you want to scrape every day, all the time, right?
Yeah.
In WebScraper, you have to click and start the scraping process. But to automate the scraping process, you would have to use programming, for example, because then you can automate the execution of the script. So it's really like a balance of what is it that you want to scrape. So there is no best solution, but there are more appropriate solutions for every case.
It works well with the local languages?
Can you?
Oh, yeah, thanks. Do you know if it works well with local languages? Because I come from like Georgia, the country in the Eastern Europe, and I was told that it doesn't really work with Georgian language websites. WebScraper.
The WebScraper?
Yeah.
I don't have this information. I don't really know because I haven't tested it. But my feeling is, because WebScraper extract information that is loaded on a web page, and that extraction is based on HTML code, as long as your browser is able to display that information, it should be able to scrape. That is my feeling. So
depends on how we display it on the browser.
Yeah, I would say that yes, it is able, because if you can open the web page, then WebScraper can access it, right? Because it's text, so it's getting the text back to you, and the CSV file, it saves in UTF-8, which is a universal encoding. So maybe there's a problem with encoding there, but my feeling is that it would be okay.
But it can be a problem with specific website, for example.
It could be a problem in websites where you can't select the information. Somehow it's hidden or is problematic, and if you can select and you can do a data preview, then you can scrape, yes. Any other question, guys? Thank you very much. Thank you for coming and for your patience. Right.